He was not ambushed. He was not outgunned. He heard the horses arriving before dawn and made a deliberate choice. He dressed in his finest uniform. He unlocked the front door. He poured the wine himself. 30 armed men had come to take California from him. He sat across from them and offered to help. He believed with everything he had built, everything he owned, everything he had commanded for 20 years, that this was the beginning of something great. He was wrong. But the cruelest part is not what they did to him. It is that he never stopped believing they were right. This is the history of California that does not appear on its welcome signs. It is the story of a covert military expedition dressed up as a survey trip, a 9-day window between a gold discovery and a land sale that changed the value of the entire continent, a state that entered the Union free and bought that freedom by tightening the chains on someone else. And the man who handed America its richest prize then spent the rest of his life fighting to keep 280 acres of it. California was not destiny. It was a chess game. And the one man who understood every piece on the board was the one who lost everything. In 1845, California was not a territory waiting for America to notice it. It was the most contested coastline in the Western Hemisphere, and 3 powers were moving for it at the same time. Britain wanted California as a wall. Keep America east of the Rockies. Block the Pacific. Lock the continent. Mexico still owned the land, but could not hold it. It was too far from Mexico City, too expensive to garrison, and too thinly settled to defend. And inside California itself, the Californios, the Spanish descended ranching families who had been there for generations, were split 3 ways. Governor Pio Pico, ruling from Los Angeles, leaned toward Britain. Military Commander Jose Castro, based in Monterrey, wanted independence. And General Mariano Guadalupe Vallejo, who controlled the North, wanted something that surprised everyone. He wanted the United States. He had said so for years, openly, despite the risks that came with saying it. He believed American rule would bring law and order to a frontier he had spent his life trying to hold together. Vallejo held title to vast ranchos across Sonoma, Napa, and Solano counties, confirmed by Mexican land grants going back to 1834. He commanded 40 uniformed soldiers he paid out of his own pocket. His rancho was so large it slaughtered a steer, 6 sheep, and 40 chickens every day just to feed the people who worked it. He was, without question, the most powerful private citizen in Northern California. And he had already decided, years before any American soldier arrived, that he would not fight them. Washington was paying close attention. In the spring of 1845, President Polk sent a response. He sent a cartographer, officially. Captain John C. Fremont of the Army Corps of Topographical Engineers arrived in California with 62 heavily armed men, a senator for a father-in-law, and communications from Washington that historians have debated ever since. He was, on paper, taking notes. He set up camp in the Sacramento Valley, made contact with American settlers who had entered California without permission, spoke carefully, and left no written orders. Within 2 weeks of his arrival, 33 settlers were riding towards Sonoma in the dark. Their first act was to steal 170 horses from a Mexican militia supply column. Not a weapons depot, not a military fort. Horses. California's revolution began with livestock theft at 4 in the morning. But before those men reached Sonoma, Vallejo already knew they were coming, and he had already made his choice. June 14, 1846, before dawn. Vallejo heard the riders. He got dressed in his finest uniform. He opened the front door before they could knock. He welcomed the men who had come to take everything from him, because in his mind, they had come to finish something he had always wanted. He sat them down. He opened his wine cellar. He offered a peaceful handover and proposed working out the details between two sides who both wanted the same outcome. The negotiations lasted long enough that several of the rebels became noticeably drunk. His son later recalled that by the time the Americans had finished his father's brandy, they were in no shape to govern anything. Outside in the plaza, the rest of the group was designing a national flag. They painted a star and a grizzly bear on a strip of white muslin using brick dust and linseed oil. Most people who saw it said the bear looked more like a pig. The California Republic's founding symbol was a confused animal painted on borrowed fabric with construction material. The California Republic lasted 25 days, which in California terms is barely enough time to get a building permit. William B. Ide declared himself leader and gave a speech about freedom and conquest. Vallejo signed the surrender document. He had opened the door, poured the wine, proposed the terms, signed the papers. They put him in chains anyway. He was held at Sutter's Fort for 2 months. No formal charges. He wrote letters home. He was frustrated, but he was not disillusioned. He still believed in American rule. He thought the imprisonment was a misunderstanding. The republic he helped create was already falling apart. California irregulars killed 2 American rebels, Thomas Cowie and George Fowler. Kit Carson's men stopped 3 unarmed California messengers on a beach near San Rafael and shot all 3 dead. The violence spread. General Castro advanced with his full militia. One real battle was fought at Olampali. Castro's commander escaped by boat using a forged letter as a decoy. The California Republic controlled Sonoma. It controlled nothing else. It had passed no laws, issued no currency, built no courts, and was already losing the fight. Then the United States Navy arrived. Commodore Sloat raised the American flag over Monterey on July 7, 1846. The Bear Flag Republic was swallowed by the United States before it had governed anything. The war moved south. 18 American soldiers died at San Pasqual in a single ambush. By January 1847, the last California commander surrendered near Los Angeles. California was American territory now, governed by the military, no elected legislature, no civil courts, no law except what individual commanders decided day to day. And then a carpenter found something in a river. January 24, 1848. James Marshall was building a lumber mill for Swiss immigrant John Sutter on the American River. He spotted something gold-colored in the water channel. He bit it. He hammered it. He tested it with acid. Every test said the same thing. Gold, pure, raw, surface level, more of it than anyone had imagined. Marshall rode immediately to Sutter's fort. Sutter spent the night running his own tests. By morning, he understood exactly what this would do to the agricultural empire he had spent 20 years building. He begged Marshall desperately, with his entire life on the line, to keep it quiet. Sutter's plan to hide the discovery held together roughly as well as a paper umbrella. The secret lasted 6 weeks. A merchant named Samuel Brannan ended it in what may be the most calculated act of commercial self-interest in California's early history. Brannan had spent the previous month quietly buying every pickaxe and every pan and every gold washing tool in San Francisco, including his competitor's entire stock. Then he rode through the streets holding a bottle of gold dust over his head, shouting that there was gold on the American River. Brannan did not mine the gold. He sold shovels to the people who did. He reportedly made $600,000 in 9 weeks and never once bent over a riverbank. California's first great fortune was not agriculture, not real estate. It was accessories. Within 48 hours, San Francisco was functionally empty. Within a year, 300,000 people were converging on California from every direction on Earth. Now hold this date, January 24th, 1848, gold discovered. The date the United States and Mexico signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, transferring California permanently to America, was February 2nd, 1848. 9 days. America purchased California 9 days after gold was discovered. No one in Washington knew. No one in Mexico City knew. The negotiators on both sides had no idea. Mexico received $15 million. In the decade that followed, miners pulled more than $500 million in gold out of that same ground. Mexico sold the most valuable real estate in North American history for $15 million because the discovery that made it worth that much had happened 9 days too recently for anyone to have heard about it. And John Sutter, the man on whose land the gold was found, lost everything within 2 years. Miners flooded his property. His workers abandoned him for the gold fields. His crops rotted. His cattle were stolen openly. He spent the next 17 years petitioning Congress for compensation. He died in a Washington, D.C. hotel room in June 1880. His petition was never granted. 3 bills came due when California moved towards statehood. Nobody wanted to pay any of them. The first was settled in blood. In 1848, California's indigenous population was approximately 150,000 people. By 1870, it was below 30,000. California's first governor stood in front of the state legislature in 1851 and called openly for the complete extermination of native Californians. The legislature funded what he asked for: state-paid militias, organized raids, bounties for killing. This was happening while newspapers and songs were celebrating California as a golden land of freedom and new beginnings. Both things were true at the same time. They always are. The second bill arrived in Washington. California's 1849 Constitutional Convention voted unanimously to enter as a free state. Not one delegate, including those from slave-holding states, wanted slavery in the gold fields. But in the Senate, there were 15 free states and 15 slave states, a balance that had held since 1820. Admitting California would break it permanently. Southern senators threatened to leave the Union. Henry Clay's Compromise of 1850 resolved it. California entered free. In exchange, every free state in America was legally required to capture and return escaped enslaved people to the South. A man who had reached freedom in Boston or Philadelphia could be seized, chained, and sent back. California bought its freedom. The price was paid by someone else. The third bill is one almost nobody remembers. 9 years after California became a state, Southern California tried to leave it. The state legislature passed the PICO Act of 1859, a bill to split California in two. The governor signed it. Voters approved it by a wide margin. California was closer to a permanent split than it has ever been before or since. Southern California wanting out over taxes, representation, and fundamental incompatibility is, to be fair, a recurring theme in California's relationship with itself. Then Abraham Lincoln was elected. Southern states began seceding. The PICO Act never got a congressional vote. The Civil War buried it. California stayed one state. The fault line did not disappear. Go back to the man who opened the door. General Mariano Guadalupe Vallejo was released from Sutter's Fort In August 1846, he went home. He was elected a delegate to California's Constitutional Convention in 1849. He helped write the document that made California a state. He served in the first California State Senate. He proposed naming a new city Eureka. The legislators named it after him instead. Then the American legal system turned its attention to California's land grants. Under Mexican law, his titles were legitimate, confirmed by Mexican governors going back to 1834. Under the American Land Act of 1851, every Mexican land grant had to be proven again in federal court. Every case needed lawyers. Every case took years. Every case cost money. Rancho Sosol, covering what is now Napa and Solano counties, was rejected by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1862. The legal costs for that case alone forced him to mortgage everything he had left. The man who held vast ranchos in 1846 ended with 280 acres. 280 acres. Two of his daughters, Natalie and Jovita, married the Harasthi brothers, the family that founded California's commercial wine industry and planted the first major vineyards across the hills of Sonoma and Napa. Vallejo's daughters' husbands built the wine country on land that had once belonged to their father-in-law. Vallejo died on January 18, 1890. He was 82 years old. He lived long enough to watch the hills he had farmed become famous for their wine. Long enough to see strangers grow wealthy on soil he once owned. He never stopped believing that American annexation had been the right choice. That is either the most forgiving thing about him or the most heartbreaking. The state seal of California reads, Eureka, I have found it. Vallejo found it. He handed it over willingly. And the country he trusted spent 20 years making sure he could not keep any of it. That is the history California does not put on its welcome signs. A dream built on gold. A foundation built on something heavier. And a man who believed in the whole thing until the very end. Go back and watch the first 30 seconds again. You will hear it differently now. Every state on this map has a story like this. Next time, Nevada. The only state in American history created by a sitting president specifically to win a war. Abraham Lincoln needed Nevada's electoral votes in the 1864 election. Nevada was not ready to be a state.
Lincoln signed the Enabling Act in March. By October 31st, Nevada was in the Union.
The state constitution was so long and the deadline so tight, it had to be transmitted to Washington by telegraph, word by word. At a cost reportedly over $3,000, one of the most expensive single telegrams in American history up to that point. Lincoln paid it without hesitation. That story is next.